Yeah, I want to do a little thing on coconut oil, and I'm going to try to present a bunch of different facts about it. But if you have one food out there that's a survival food, here's this puppy. Because this thing actually, if you just have this in a sealed container on about, even though the room temperature, 5 years later, this stuff is still good. That's how powerful it is for antimicrobial, antibacterial, antifungal. It's probably good for cats too, I'm not sure. Anyway, this is Putin the cat. Putin, you know, after the Russian leader. He's part gray, Russian gray mix, and you know, he's better than the Russian leader. He's like a good cat. So anyway, he's cool. So he's like really neat. You know, I'm doing all health stuff with him. But anyway, on coconut oil, I always get this brand off of Amazon, Parachute. Now it says it's hair oil, but it's not really. It's like organic coconut oil. It's edible and everything. Some people don't like it because, you know, this bottle, like if you unscrew this cap, it could solidify. Like coconut oil, basically around 73, 74 degrees Fahrenheit, that's where it changes from liquid to solid. So if it's at 70 degrees, you can't really get it out of this bottle, so you don't want to refrigerate it. If it's 80 degrees, it's like pure liquid. But this is actually a lot cheaper off of Amazon. It's like, this is the 1 liter, 33.6 ounces, so just a hair more than a quart, like 1.1 quarts. You can get it for as low as 10 bucks shipped if you buy enough of it. So if you buy 3 of them, you know, that's the way I buy it. I got a whole pile of this stuff, you know, lots of bottles of this. Now the thing with coconut oil, it's actually several things. First off, a coconut oil contains about 47 to 48% lauric acid, right? So lauric acid actually is very antimicrobial, it's antiviral, antifungal, also bacterial, right? It will dissolve the outside lipid cell wall of any virus, no matter how the virus is structured. So in other words, if the virus, even if it morphs into another virus that can't be treated with other types of antibiotics, coconut oil will work against it because all viri are structured the same way. What happens is that it dissolves the outside cell wall of the virus. So what happens there is it just, you know, falls apart. You know, it's simple, simple. So all viri are structured the same way. So, like, I'll give you a little story. Actually, in Malaysia and the Philippines, this might be kind of long. I have to do this in a few segments. But the Philippines and in Malaysia, they used to think there was something in the ethnicity of the DNA of the people that made them resistant to malaria. But when they went back to the United States and changed their diet, and they went back to the Philippines and Malaysia, they contracted malaria a lot easier, just like everybody else. What it was the lauric acid that was in all the coconut in the diet, the coconut oil, the coconut meat, the coconut milk, the coconut water. So lauric acid was built up in the body. So it actually gives you an immunity against disease up to a point. And in the Philippines, the established medicine actually goes into a lot more about this. The United States, no, not so much. But hey, this is good stuff, and it's a lot of different ways. I'm going to get into other things. One thing also, you know, they got the product out there, Dr. Scholl's for athlete's foot and all that type of stuff. This stuff, coconut oil, will work better than that. It'll work better than that. It'll also work better than Head and Shoulders for clobbering dandruff, because it's actually getting at the skin problem that the parasite, the pathogen, that's actually causing the pathogen, that's actually causing the skin to flake. Also for hair, it's the only oil that actually absorbs into the hair follicle itself. That's another interesting thing, and nourishes. So it actually gets into the hair follicle itself and nourishes. It's a little greasy, but you know, you don't use it too much, you know. Now the other thing is, with diabetics, it's very good for that, because this actually, since it's a medium chain triglyceride, it's most oils and fats is a long chain triglyceride. It takes a lot more processes to actually turn it into energy. This is a medium chain triglyceride. This actually goes into energy faster than a sports drink. But it does not spike your insulin at all. That's the key. It does not spike your insulin at all. So therefore, you know, it's not affecting, you know, giving you a problem if you have diabetes. Actually, this can wean you off the insulin by doing this after a while. And actually there's been, and this is, you know, this is per doctors too. Just not the majority of them, because they go out of business if you tell them about this stuff. The only ones that will get good business is people growing coconuts. That's the way it is. So, you know, it's very helpful in that way. And even type 1. Some people are very, very careful with their diet. and they're able to get off a lot of their meds and taking their insulin by using a lot of this. Now, there's another thing out there you can do. Another thing, now, another benefit is it raises the ketones in the brain. Ketones, K-E-T-O-N-E-S, not K-E-Y-T-O-N-E-S. Now, this was actually used back in the 1800s and up to the 1920s or so in psychiatric wards. What they used to do was have a high ketonic diet, and that would protect the patient from like depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, and especially epileptic seizures, and by raising the ketones. So it actually works to actually alleviate brain fog, so it improves mental alertness, helps alleviate some depression and anxiety, and also, seizures, it can help with that. But also, people sometimes in some case of Alzheimer's, it has reversed Alzheimer's. Coconut oil, believe it or not. And you know what? If you don't believe it, give it a try. What does it cost? Like I said, the cost of this stuff was very cheap. I got this off of Amazon. If you buy enough quantity and you buy a few of these at a time, you get the free shipping. You get 3 liters for $30. Beat that anywhere. You're never going to beat that. So it's very cheap. So I also keep that as like survival food and stuff like that, because like I said, it's actually a major disease preventer in some ways. It's not BS on that. I mean, maybe they could say I'm making a medical claim, but sorry, that's just the freaking facts. Those are the facts. Coconut, the lauric acid, it actually has a microlaurin, and it contains a lauric acid, and the lauric acid has antimicrobial properties. It is a fact. So it helps. It helps. If you say that's not FDA approved, I don't know, whatever. They've been doing this for thousands of years before the FDA was around and all the medical doctors. But I want to point out one little fact on the end here. The average American doctor lives to be the age of 62. The average American lives to be about 75 and a half. So what the hell do they know? So stick with nature. Coconut oil does a whole bunch of things. I went over several things at once, but if you want to review this and look what I said, because it does a bunch of different things. It's anti-microbial. It's good for nutrition. It's good to combat diabetes. It's also good to actually improve your mood and short-term memory. That's a lot of stuff for one food, I tell you. It's good stuff. And it will not raise your cholesterol. Actually, it'll lower it.